In order to improve your strength, flexibility, and balance with exercises, you need to understand the benefits of each exercise, its functions, and common mistakes, how to move in an optimal way. We're going to cover a cat and cow movement in today's video. If you want to learn how to retrain your body and then movement safely and then effectively and then move better, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every week. I am Taro Iwamoto. I am a Feldenkrais practitioner. With my backgrounds in athletic training, physical therapy, martial arts, and the Feldenkrais method, I have helped many people like you overcome and then move beyond the pain and the limitations. Now it's your turn, and let's dive in. So cat and cow movement is very commonly used, and it is one of the yoga poses and movement as well. And for many people, and it is used for general mobility and stretching of the spine of the back. As you are moving your spine into the flexion and then into the extension. Sure, that is maybe a benefit. But for me, from a movement perspective, the benefits of this exercise is to improve the coordination of the flexors and extensors. And so that you can distribute the movement very well, and then you don't end up in a stress in the same parts of the spine and over and over. And that is the benefits, because we go through the movements and daily movements that require, some movements requires a little bit more extension, meaning arching the back, and some movements requires a little bit more flexion. And then habitually, we all have a patterns of flexing and arching into a very particular part of the spine, but not other parts of the spine, and which is not always healthy and ideal for the body. So I'll show you common movement patterns when people do the cat and cow movements. So when they do this movement, okay, most people are very good at rounding through the middle back, but not so good. Not everybody's good at rounding through the lower back. And it's easy to focus on rounding, and then people make an excessive effort to round and then ended up holding the breath and an increase in effort, which compromises your mobility. That's not so healthy, right? And helpful. And also how to engage the flexors, and most people are concentrating on this center, your abs. But also think about, you are moving your tail down. So sometimes it helps to think about just very lightly and squeezing your buttock together, both of them, and then that will engage your hip extensions, and it's starting to tuck the tail underneath. So that you can add that if you haven't been doing that already, so that you can fold and round and flex this to the lower back a little bit better too. A lot of people, I noticed that they don't really use the extension of the hips to do this movement. So here, that's important. And then when they're going to the opposite movement and round arching movement here. So more people are very, very efficient, good at arching through the lower back, but not many people are good at arching through the middle back and upper back here. Most people are very good at arching through the neck. So what happens is, the common mistake is that they ended up in a straining lower back and then straining the neck, as they can move a lot more easily into that motion. So the movement is not very well distributed. And then when they go through the movement repeatedly, ended up in hurting either the lower back or the neck. Maybe you can relate. So how can you improve this one? Again, don't think of this exercise as a stretching exercise, and think of this exercise as a coordination exercise. Okay? thinking about improving the distribution of the movement into the flexion and an extension. And the position is your hips over the knees, your shoulders over the wrist. But hip width, shoulder width apart. Starting with somewhat neutral of the spine and starting to round your spine, engaging in both your abdominal muscles and also the hip, your gluteus muscles. Squeezing and contracting your gluteus muscles a little bit, which will flex your spine. And move a lot more slowly than you normally move. And so that you think about moving, using the whole spine and moving the whole spine, but same speed. Then as you're going through this rounding motion, flexing motion, and coordinate with your breathing, and it helps to breathe out. You don't have to forcefully breathe out, just to gently exhale as you begin to flex your spine. It helps to flex your ribs and flex your spine a little bit more. And don't look for a stretch, maximal stretch, and think about coordination and think about even distribution of the movement. Again, this is not for stretching, at least from my perspective. Improving the coordination. Then you can reduce and how you can improve how you use your spine in the day-to-day functions, activities. And now going to the opposite directions, arching. So you can also think about, instead of tucking the tail, you think about lifting your tail, okay, which begins to extend your spine. But this is, for most people, not a problem to extend the spine. But for most people, this is the problem, okay, or difficulty. Not very familiar, used to use it. So think about lifting your sternum or lifting the top of your sternum up here. So coordinate those parts and try to distribute an effort as evenly as possible, which means you are not going to move your lower back as much as you normally do, because you can probably move a lot more than your thoracic spine. So as soon as your chest, your thoracic spine stops extending, arching, that's when you stop moving your lower back too. So that way you're not moving excessively to the lower back. And as far as the neck, your neck is going to extend only as far as your thoracic spine. So focus on lifting the top of your sternum, which will lift your neck and the head up in that direction. So that way you are keeping your neck and your lower back safe, right? So pay attention to your thoracic spine as you're going through the motion here. So mobilizing through the thoracic spine is new for a lot of people, but very, very healthy thing to do. Then put them all together, alternate, rounding and arching, and then you're doing the cat and cow movements. So, how many times should you do? And look for 10 to 15 quality repetitions is good. But don't focus on the repetitions. Repetitions with the bad, if inefficient movement patterns, it can only reinforce the bad movement patterns. If you want to improve the quality of the movement, improve and then get the most out of this exercise. Quantity matters more than the quantity. So how many times should you be doing? Yeah, I would say 10 to 15 quality repetitions. But again, don't worry too much about quantity. The quantity, you're moving inefficiently, and then you're doing a lot of repetitions. You're only reinforcing inefficient, not optimal movement patterns. That's not what you want to do. So always quality matters more than your quantity. So don't compromise your quality as you are going through these movements. Improve coordination, flexors and extensors, and reducing the parts that you tend to overuse, likely your lower back and your neck. Okay? It shouldn't hurt your neck or the lower back as you're going through this exercise. But you can if you don't know how you are moving. Very common, so that's why the people complain about the neck pain as they're going through this movement, or the lower back. If you want to improve your back pain, be sure to grab your free movement guide to pain-free back at the link below. Check out these videos, and if you like this video, and hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe and share with your friends. Comment below how helpful you found this video was. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Happy mindful movement. Bye-bye.